we have a session which is titled Startup Success Stories. However, that's not really a fair title, I suppose. So, keep the mic a bit. Yeah. Is this better? I hope so. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's not really a fair title, the Startup Success Stories, because we have a range of companies here and range of people here for different sectors and different segments. The previous session kind of told us, like startups are the future, manufacturing is the future, AI is the future, and obviously we know that all of this is being built on say IT enterprises and big tech companies. So yeah, I mean, so I would say the actual title of the session is India Tech Success Stories. I would say not startup success stories. But we do have Vijay here, who's probably, one of the, I mean, at least in this panel, the oldest entrepreneur here. So, yeah. So, let's start with your journey. Please give us a quick introduction and,
Yeah, hello, good afternoon everyone. I am Vijay Kumar, not Thakur. Thakur is my title but not on the picture.
So, not my last name either.
Yeah, it's okay. So I am Vijay, I am representing as the CEO and co-founder of Suo Manufacturing Private Limited. We are into electric vehicle component manufacturing and we are just 3 years old startup. And now already in productionized and supplying lot many OEMs. So going forward, we'll just share more insights.
Of course, yeah. So Himanshu here is from ProCap. Manu mentioned about ProCap a little bit ago. He was saying that they are on course to be a top 3 company in India in the fintech sector. So Himanshu, how did you get there?
Yeah. And thanks to Manu, he's always too nice to us.
Yeah.
I'm Himanshu, I run a company called ProCap. ProCap is a B2B fintech. We work with large corporates, but we solve problems for MSMEs. We digitize their network and then provide lending on top of it. So, yeah, my journey has been fairly standard. I was an engineer, an MBA, and then a banker. And in my banking job, I saw a problem that small MSMEs, small shopkeepers were not getting credit because their data was not there, they did not have documentation, and ProCap we are solving.
Got it. And from 2 startups, we also have Bhavna from HP here. Obviously, HP is not a startup. But yeah, I mean, as an enterprise, as somebody from a big tech company, I mean, HP has seen the India story grow from the IT industry to the startup ecosystem now. And Bhavna, what do you view on where India has come right now and like how are you working with startups?
Yeah, thank you. I'm absolutely happy to be part of the panel. Thank you for inviting me. But I would also like to say, I think at HPE, a lot of people feel that, yes, it is a very large global technology company, but the way we look at it, we say that, we are a startup with an 80-year-old legacy, right? So that's the approach that we take, and hence, it has become increasingly important for us to continue to look at the space, keeping in mind that what is it that startups need the most and what they don't get. Right, and because I've been an entrepreneur myself for several years, when we started looking at this, we also, initially we felt that it's good to also invest, right, acquire. So we in fact we've made some really good acquisitions, almost 30 plus acquisitions we've done in last few years. But in addition to that, we started realizing that a lot of startups also want GTM enablement, especially in the B2B space. And when you build a startup, right, especially if you're, for example, right, I mean, Himanshu would understand this, that a lot of times your overall valuation of your own business, and not just from a VC perspective, but your own business sustainability perspective, if you have the right amount of customers, you have the right amount of network at the right cost, right, the quality, of your entire supply chain, right, your business landscape, that also helps you drive your runway a lot better, which is where we started a program a few years ago, which is called as Digital Catalyst. So what we also do is that we very actively, we have a jury every year. We have a panel of different types of people, right, from VCs to experts, influencers, again people with technology expertise both global and in India. And then we identify certain segment of startups, largely in deep tech, cybersecurity, IoT, machine learning, big data, etc., even robotics for that matter, right? And then when we identify, then we help them incubate, we help them co-innovate, right? We also help them grow beyond what they are doing right now, keeping in mind our entire expertise in enterprise, the government sector, public sector, almost everything, not just in India but globally. So the whole idea is that how do we co-innovate and help them grow a lot faster, right? And not just solve one piece, which is just feedback.
Right. From an 8-year startup to an 18-year-old, I guess. Couple startup has been around from 2005, if I'm not mistaken, right? Vihan. So Kapil, could you please talk to us about that journey? How you came this 18 years? It's a long time, right?
So I'm actually a complete outlier here, and whatever I've heard since morning is that because we are IIT Delhi incubated. I heard only one of 30 is IIT now, so that's a surprise, but whatever. Completely bootstrapped, no venture money. Work in video imaging Malai and AI. It's nice name I saw Malai was good. It was a computer game when we started, so now it's called Malai. And profitable for 10 years, making tons of money. 50% of the business, actually 60 selling to government. So complete outlier in the group. But primarily what we do is do a lot of AI/ML for building hardware products around security surveillance, which is selling to homeland customers, airports, and a lot of AI/ML for traffic enforcement, we sell to smart cities and also to private enterprises. So yeah.
Well, that's interesting. We'll come to that. Selling to government and agencies and stuff like that. But I want to start with Himanshu here. Himanshu, it's been about 5 years, right? If I'm not mistaken, since you started off. We talk about, like, say, why did you decide to start off? Your banking background obviously helps, but like, what was the spur? What was the sort of thing that compelled you to say, okay, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, I'm going to be a founder, and I'm going to do this particular thing?
Yeah, thank you for that. So, when I was working in a bank, we used to work with small wholesalers and suppliers of large corporates. And while we would never lend directly to them, we saw the data that a corporate was providing was very rich, and we would just basis that data start lending to them. And we were seeing on the other side of the ecosystem a financial institution called Bajaj Finance turning around from auto finance company to a consumer finance company, again on the back of the data of a corporate. So a large wholesaler and a consumer were getting credit based on corporate data and corporate support. But the small shopkeepers in India were still underserved. Right? So a distributor was selling to a shopkeeper to a consumer. The shopkeeper was still traditional, he was relying on a small distributor credit, unable to grow his business. So at PropCap, we thought that maybe we'll start something that will support this. And this is what we did. We only knew how to, so we went back to our corporates. We created a product, we created a software first that takes the data from a wholesaler, takes the data from a corporate, and then uses the data to underwrite and create business models. So it was all what we did, what we understood. And first we never thought we'd go to VCs, honestly. We never thought we'd create an NBFC to lend. But this just happened because you have to go full stack actually to develop a business.
Yeah, sorry, and this is the last part, just a little bit of distraction in myself. But yeah, we will catch up anyway. But come to Bhavna, like, I wanted to understand, like, exactly how do you liaise with startups, how do you identify startups that want to work with HP, and like, what is your sort of acquisition channel here, like, when you look at startups, early stage, growth stage, or late stage, how do you sort of divide that acquisition?
Yeah, sure. So we have two different tracks completely. One is the acquisition track, which is where we look at various startups, and we've done that quite successfully across the world. Those are not too early stage startups, right? But one thing, one qualifier that we clearly have across all types of startups that we've invested or acquired is that their potential to scale. Right, and potential to scale in a manner that, is it a very, very local problem that they are solving, or there is a potential to also take this across the world? Because that's the strength that we bring on the table in terms of helping them scale up, right? And if they're really solving, a good problem, which can also be replicated, right, across. So that's one part. Secondly, from the digital catalyst perspective, where we also co-innovate, we help them, drive the entire business from a GTM enablement perspective. That is relatively, early stage, because that's where we feel that, a lot of these startups, when they're looking at it, they're not only looking at just raising the, the seed level, right? But once they reach that stage, once let's say they've, raised at least some part of the money, in terms of the business scale up, which is where they need the maximum hand-holding. And technology also becomes, in a way, enabler, and it can also be a big drain, on the P&L, if you don't do it right. And that's where we step in, without any lock-in, let's say a perceived lock-in, because a lot of times people, in the beginning, one of the things is that, oh, do we need to really shift everything, right, to HPE, because if we really want to be part of it. So it's a very, very unbiased, the entire environment and the framework we create, keeping in mind that, let's say, there's a deep tech, right, and they're really solving the problem. However, if we were to co-innovate with them, create a solution which is scalable, it becomes relatively easier for them to go to a very large corporate, to a very large enterprise, right, with as part of our stack, right, or us helping open a lot of doors for them. And that's something that we do very clearly, as a very, very independent track without any intervention from the business.
When it comes to scaling up, like one of the biggest challenges from a sector point of view is obviously manufacturing, right? Like I wanted to talk to you about that. India is in the midst of manufacturing boom in the past 2-3 years. Tons of PLI schemes, cons and pros on both sides. But what are your thoughts on building in such an atmosphere when everything is sort of ticking for that sector, like manufacturing sector? How did you sort of capitalize on this opportunity?
Yeah, so I think in the startup category, this manufacturing things has come up little late, because most of the things were revolving around the services, technology, which was much easier in terms of stacking up or scaling up, because you don't need that brick and mortar solution. So there are a lot of challenges that you rightly pointed out in terms of manufacturing, because it revolves around everything. So there are part of services also involved in the manufacturing, but there are different perspectives towards your resources, your infra, your testing facilities, then you're definitely the customer partner as part of the ecosystem, then your lending partner. So a lot of things are, you can say, the part of challenges and constraints. But yes, having said that, the constraints also make the solution very optimized. So you also try to get along that optimal solution when you have a lot of constraints. So you start behaving that way. So it also gives you a lot of room to improve. So from the manufacturing side, yes, we had also a lot of challenge in being EV as a complete niche industry. Even let's suppose I want to design a product, I have to seek for a different vendor support, which they can provide me some mold and certain initial level of engineering, which can enable me to just design the final end product. So that's very difficult in India, because India is a country where people just ask for the volume, or they will ask for the money. They don't just try to put the hand for 2 or 3 different kind of prototyping. So it's very difficult, but yet, and it takes time also. At the same time, because manufacturing is something where you cannot see the number and cannot project the numbers just by what you do normally in the different kind of startup ecosystem. So for the funding also, when you go and seek any kind of support, so that way also very difficult to convince any investors. Okay, so it's a different ball altogether. But yes, being EV, because EV is a different incumbent in this industry, and people started, and it became very fast. It became a fact to Indian society, and a lot of people started coming into it. For us, but when we look at from the perspective of starting this business, so we just thought yes, being an OEM is a different position, because India is already in automobile and they are carrying a big legacy for the last 150 years, making different kind of vehicles. So making a fabrication, giving a different cosmetics towards it doesn't make sense. So if you want to bring certain kind of technology and innovation, so definitely you should look towards the key components, like definitely the battery management systems, for the motors, for the controllers, the ECU and other parts. So we started from that part. But yes, for the last 3 years, it was too many challenges at the same time. We struggled with a lot of supply chain things. We developed vendor partners, and we had a lot of collaboration with the different universities. We also took the help of the universities and the government system, where we took the involvement of the different testing facilities, where you could just took the leverage of the university's facilities and we just developed the prototype. So those things really helped us, and that kind of third-party ecosystems just helped us in getting more design products on the track. And also, unfortunately, like we never approached for the funding, but we received more than 12 investors and all term sheets. So investors changing us, we never changed investors, so that was very good to us. And we closed around also last year, and it was all good. Right now, like scaling up different plants, we are already having 2 manufacturing units, and now next year we are putting up another plant.
Got it. And Kapil, like investors chasing India, but like you kind of run away from them. And when people are talking about challenges, like like over a period of almost 2 decades, like how are the challenges themselves sort of become more complicated? Have the challenges become more complicated for you, or like has it become easier now?
So when we started, it was very challenging. 2005, deep tech was not even a word. We said we'll do computer vision, which was unheard of. Products were not being developed at that scale. So the challenge is actually reduced. And same VCs changing us is also a correct statement. We go for a round if it's required really. But I believe that money should be raised only if it is required. It's a loan, whether it's called equity, but it's actually a bigger loan. We have to pay higher rate of interest on that. So it should be raised when it is really required. If it's not required, you can just bootstrap your business. And there are companies like Zoho and others in Zerodha which have really scaled up very well. The business opportunities in terms of Make in India has really helped us. So the program has actually helped us enter into very controlled markets like airports, which were governed upon scanner players, and we were able to enter because of Make in India scheme. We given trial orders, and then we distributed well, and then we give orders for large, multi-million orders we have got now. So the challenges are reduced. If there are any startups in the audience, it's actually a great time to start. We did all the hard work and could not even raise money when we wanted it. But then the VC started chasing when we never wanted the money because we had cash deposit and we could manage our R&D. So I think the challenges are actually lesser. Life is easier than it was 10 years back.
Yeah, but like how did you break through, say, like the competition, be a foreign player or like international companies? How do you break through and like make sure that like a worthy contender for these contracts and tenders?
We worked very hard on the product. We really worked hard, day in, day out. And we ensured that we were even better than the competitors.
Okay. Could you like talk to me a little bit more about like how you sort of like maybe position yourself as a better option, say, versus what are the existing technologies you're being used? And like as a customer, government is not to be very tech averse, tech shy. So how do you sort of change that mindset, right?
So one of the examples I can give to kind of I don't know whether to answer your question, but so in the traffic enforcement markets, and we deal with boring markets like security, traffic enforcement, enterprise analytics, and things like that. So in traffic enforcement, the whole world, which was working on radars for let's say speed detection systems, and we also thought that that's a great product. We imported a radar from Germany, we installed it in Indian roads, and it did not detect anything. The accuracy was 20%. We wrote back to the OEM. OEM said, can you send me a picture of what are you actually detecting? We showed him a picture. There were 3 lanes, 4 cars, 3 two-wheelers inside, and a rickshaw in that image. And he said, what the hell is that? I said, that's an Indian road. He said, no, our radars are not designed for that. He sent us a picture of Germany, 3 lanes, 3 cars, separated apart 8 feet. So he said, that is how the product works. I said, I can't change the Indian situation. We have a product which matches that. So they said, no, we don't have any radars with that. So we banged our head, we said, what should we do? We had something called OCR, or optical character recognition technology, which was a number plate reading system, which we developed for another product which was underneath the scanning system for checking the other side of the car. So we said, okay, each of these vehicles on the road seem to have a number plate. Can we detect number plate as a unique identifier instead of detecting a vehicle and then calculate the speed of the plane rather than the speed of the vehicle. So we tested that, we actually mastered that art. And I can proudly say that in this country, 50 smart cities run 12,000 speed enforcement system with our software. The whole industry changed from radar to video-based systems. So there was a gradual shift, and people did not appreciate that because 10 years back, you go to a smart city official, they would say, radars nahi hai, to chalega nahi. We demonstrated with our product, we worked hard on the product, and now all the tenders are actually with video-based systems. So radar is completely out of the country. So it's basically, how do you look at the local problem, you solve the local problem, you work hard on the product, and if you have a hardware product, it's very hard. So software is easier. We have software business also, but hardware is typically very difficult to do because you have years of hard work on the hardware. So that's one of the examples. Answer your question.
I want to come to Himanshu next. Himanshu, could you talk to me like exactly how did ProCap narrow down its sort of model? How do you reach to the customers that you want to reach to, and what's exactly what's your channel strategy when it comes to that to build a strategy?
Yeah, the problem we are solving is lending to last mile retailers, and the biggest problem is how do you reach them, and once you reach them, how do you underwrite them? Because they don't have documentation, they are far away in tier 2 and tier 5, and they actually go from tier 2 to tier 6 times. So the cost of acquisition of these customers is very high. What we did differently was we went to the corporate. What we saw in these customers was that they were selling some branded product, right? So anyone, if you're selling a HUL product, or maybe a Samsung phone, or maybe a small television or so. And we went to these corporates and we said we want to finance your shopkeepers, so you provide us access as well as data online. So through their ERP system, we started developing softwares that would attach a corporate ERP to the retailer's small mobile phone. And through the data that we got, we realized these are the customers that we want to lend to. So we shortlisted our customers based on the data we got from a corporate ERP. And we reach through a corporate network. So any shopkeeper generally gets serviced by a wholesaler, and a wholesaler gets serviced by a corporate. So we attached our products to this wholesaler and the corporate, and they were the ones who actually become distributors. So we changed the way we reach as well as underwrite and then deliver our product. In India, the great thing is every shopkeeper now has a mobile phone which has data, so you could actually implement and deliver your product through that data. So that's what so eventually our cost of acquisition of a customer, which generally is maybe 70,000-80,000 to reach this customer, came down to around 5,000, and that's how we were slightly more profitable.
I wanted to ask Vijay, we did address this a little earlier, like the startups in the manufacturing space are where we right now. What's happening on that front? Are more startups coming into the picture? Manufacturing still limited to MSMEs and there's a larger production facilities?
Startup, if I startup is a different name. I think like everybody, even a person who is having a farm shop and could is also startup. Because India is the land of startup. So it is more about like sometimes you will give the opportunity, sometimes you will give the comfort zone, and also you just go to that stage. So it is more about that. But yes, for the manufacturing sector, yes, you will find lot many entrepreneurs, second generation, third generation. And definitely they are taking the place. Sometimes you find the beginning going down and it's just so that's I would say that maybe that is not taken up by the next generation. So but the next generation who are taking up the legacies and they are just multiplying the growth, they are multiplying the business, putting up a different product. That's also a very good startup business, right? So and that's the knowledge they are taking forward and taking country also in that line. So there are many young, I think young people who are already in the second and third generation who are already taking up the business in a different line. So manufacturing, yes, there are full of startup, but yes, from the first generation perspective, you ask, but it's very difficult because a lot of entry barrier is there. Because in terms of first entry barrier is the capital itself. Because it starts from the raw material, starts from the finished goods, and a lot of testing, trial, and entry to OEM. So very difficult how the people will recognize you. because you have to create, because maybe sometimes because now the system is there that startup ecosystem has evolved, lot many compliances have been waived off, so then you are making an entry and there is also a technology embedded in the automobile. Otherwise, if let's suppose right now I am making an electric motor just like an engine, correct? If I would have dreamt of making an engine in 5 years back, it is very difficult. I can't do, and nobody will let me to get into this because there are a lot of parts already involved and they are already there. It doesn't matter what you make in the engine, but you can't get through. But the motor is just like an engine, it's replacing the engine, but at the same time it's a technology which is totally a new technology in itself. Motor is old, but yes, the motor in terms of traction is a completely new technology. So there where like these startups getting into, so there are a lot of different components also in the battery space, in other kind of components in electric vehicles. So that gave a lot of opportunity to different manufacturing startups who wanted to do certain manufacturing space, they started. And similarly some other space like drone, then defense sector also. Then now a lot of things are coming up in terms of I have another just a new startup that I started that is basically into complete software hardware based, that is VR based system, and that is the healthcare. So we started that. That's a complete different a different kind of product, but that's also involved hardware and software both. So, but we got a chance, and it's I think this first rare kind of deep tech in India, because most of the European countries they have started, but yes, in India it's first time. So we have started that. So that's where the opportunities are there, and people are getting into manufacturing also now.
Right. Rana, I mean, I want to check what sectors HP was excited about when it comes to HPE is also excited about when it comes to India, right? Obviously, manufacturing is the thing. Like, does HPE work with manufacturing entities at all, or like is it purely focused on say software and
Manufacturing is a very clear core interest area, and not just from what we do from that perspective, but I think from a sustainability perspective as well. I think it's a great time to be in the country because they're not just the services side of the business, services side of the country is continuously improving, but the infra, right? It's really booming, and any sector which is attached to that, right? I mean, there are too many nuances to that. For example, there are startups which are coming up which are focusing on deriving insights from the data points which are being collected from the IoT sensors that can be deployed, and how it can really create a lot of unique use cases, right? Which can help very, very large manufacturing setups in driving much better efficiency, reducing the failure rates, etc. So manufacturing clearly is one core area of interest, and I'm seeing amazing amount of startups which are now coming up, right? And they're really doing good work. It's not just because if you see that last several years a lot of this boom started from e-commerce, or aggregating, technology, or let's say aggregating travel, right? Aggregating shoppers, right? But then the next phase started, which was moving away from driving eyeballs to the real business. For example, what my fellow panelists talked about. I mean, there are some amazing business models which are being created. Each one of these is an interest area, right? I mean, that's why it will be wrong to just categorize and say that deep tech, cybersecurity, right? For example, edge, right? There is so much of data being generated at the edge these days, right? And how do you derive those insights and make them actionable, right? That's a whole business altogether. And there are so many startups which are now wanting to do that effectively. So anything where technology is able to solve a real problem in a sustainable manner, right? That is clearly an interest area, from cloud to edge.
And what level of technology sharing, knowledge sharing happens between say HPE and the startup that's working with you? To what extent do you sort of offer that support?
That clearly, is something which I feel is the backbone, right, of our relationship with the startups, because that's what we bring to the table in terms of saying that we have these amazing technology, brilliant minds, in almost every country, and we clearly have a practice where we make that happen. Right, and this is also not just on the drawing board. I mean, we have an amazing, for example, AI is a very clear interest area, But AI, a lot of times, it has become cool to talk about AI because of ChatGPT, right? But then if you were to look at, the use cases of AI, how it can be used for driving, a better business model, a better, efficiency for a profit, right? Or for, a logistics company, like, previously, one of the founders was talking about, or for that matter, manufacturing, right? Or defense, right? Or so many right areas. So we have a clear practice around that where we bring that expertise on the table to enable that what are the emerging trends, right? What is the right way in which, if you were to innovate, it shouldn't be that, this is a cool technology to experiment and hence we should get into it, right? A lot of times startups also get swayed by that this is a cool thing to talk about, but it's also about, how are you going to use this in your business model to grow and get a lot more attention for the right customers. So that link and bringing that sanity into the entire discussion becomes important.
Any questions from the audience? We'll just take a few if we have time. Yeah, please.
My question is for the entire startup team. So like, whenever you guys are like, got this thing, you're running fast, right? So when we're talking about other people and there's the whole system, are you guys trying to train people, students or people who not want to be, are you guiding them somewhere? Are you guys doing that kind of a responsibility, social?
Are you asking about guiding talent?
Yeah, are you going to nurture talent for
What's
future?
your approach to that? Talent management,
I
talent nurturing?
will take these questions because yes, we are doing. When we started as for the manufacturing, there was the first question regarding the challenges. So, being in EV, the most biggest challenge with us, like we had no real trained resources with us. Right? So, where we go, just people talk about electric vehicles and understand they are buying, they are using it, they are making it, but still there are a lot of problems in terms of skill and definitely the people who are making it, the technology gap is there, but there will be very few people who are trained. So how you have to concatenate this skill and this leadership down the line and clear the pipeline, that's very important. So, and when we started going hiring the people, so people were asking a lot of money. While we also belong from the similar kind of college, I won't say, but yes, when I'm going to hire the people are asking a lot of money, so we can't afford. So then we just thought like how to just bridge this gap, and definitely because we are also going to help the ecosystem just to come up with this kind of skills, because that is going to be a contemporary skills going forward. So then we had a lot of MOUs with the different colleges. We started hiring and onboarding the PhDs, the MTech, the engineering candidates, also giving a live projects to the colleges. Right now also we are running a lot of projects with the colleges. And we started doing that, and then we started also giving a lot of internships, the long internship from the college, off-site, on-site, both the ways. And for the last 3 years, we have been that passion and connected with lot many students, and we are giving PPOs to those students. And now, like we do have good pool of resources. We have certain resources who are working at our company, but at the same time, we also have resources who are working in the colleges. And right now, also these practices are going on. So this kind of support and system is very much required, and that's helping us, and that's definitely helping to the universities and students also.
Very well answered.
Question for the startup founders that are sitting on the dais. In one line, what has been your most challenging and most rewarding part of your journey? If I could get all three of you to maybe say in the shortest.
Personally, for me, it was COVID. We are a company that lends to shopkeepers, and at COVID, everyone closed their shop and we had lent a lot of money. And I think that was also the most rewarding, because we were still early in our journey and we saw what worst can happen. And then coming out of it, creating a business model so that even if it repeats, we are much more stronger. I think was also part of the most rewarding part.
So for me, like just the problem I explained, because for us, like that was the most, I think, most important thing for us is to create the resources. So that was a real challenge, and still we are building up, struggling and getting lot many resources, filling the gap. The way we are scaling up, the way we have to scale our resource channel also. So that definitely will be the challenge which will forever. And the most rewarding, I would say, because we started the journey from the design and almost took 5 years, and then formed the company during the COVID. Dr. Himanshu said yes, that was also a big challenge. During that, we just formed the company somehow and then started. But yes, almost took 11 months because the second COVID also came, and then we had a first sales. After a lot of convincing to a lot of different OEMs, because in manufacturing, yes, it's very difficult to own the customers and win the customers. So it was very difficult, similar way in the automobile sector. But when we sold the first product, so that was real pleasure, and still we have that serial number in our factory, and we are chasing that model. So that's still running.
Yeah, since the journey was long, so we had multiple rewarding moments, but I remember 3. First one was when we installed our traffic enforcement system, and I got a challan from Gurgaon. That was the first thing. It works. It works. Second was putting our extra machines in Delhi airport, which was a very challenging task because it was all global players till that time for 25 years. Third was seeing our machine in Delhi Metro, and my mother sending a picture of the machine, extra machine from Delhi Metro. So these are 3 moments I remember.
And on the talent side, the gentleman was asking, like talent. I mean, obviously ML talent.
Yeah, so I think he answered. So we have, over last 3 years, one of our mentors and founders, Professor Balakrishnan, is heading our industry interaction program, and we have MOUs with IITs and triple IITs, 6 of them at this point, and we are actually doing MTech sponsorships, PhD sponsorships, and consulting programs, essentially working on things which we want to do in midterm and long. Let's say sound detection algorithms. We don't know what we do right now, but we know a couple of years it will be required. So we're working in Delhi with them. So essentially, and then not just giving them sponsorship, but also if they want to join us, taking them back.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, just one more question I have for the panelists. I would like your opinion on how this OpenAI or ChatGPT, we call it, how it's negatively impacting the startup ecosystem.
Is it negatively impacting you guys?
No, that's what I want to know there.
It's pretty positive. I think a lot of codes are now written on ChatGPT.
But is it not that cognitive thinking is getting blocked because students are getting essays on ChatGPT, prompts on ChatGPT, code on ChatGPT? Is it not in the long run it will impact negatively?
Colleges have a problem with that. So, I mean, in a way, it's actually helping us hasten our development process, at least from our perspective.
Yeah, for us also, while we're still wrapping our head around the use cases, but still our customer center, our development cycles are significantly reduced because of the use of these technologies.
For us, I don't think like much relevant to us right now, but yes, I would say that technology we should always see as a perspective, both the perspective, because any technology you pick up, even you take a normal Google also, that's a positive and negative both. So I think the advent of any technology comes with both the perspective. You have to just focus on what exactly, to what extent you can just make out of best out of it. Correct? So that's the way I think it is.
Thank you.
As I think as Vijay talked about, every technology, has pros and cons, right? So it depends on a lot of times, certain platforms become glamorized, or overhyped, and because of that, they end up bearing the brunt of that, and because of that, everybody is now thinking that, that is AI, right? That's one part, of AI. It's representing that, but then there are so many use cases of AI which can emerge well. Right? For that matter, if there is a student, who's using internet to write essay, they will do it regardless of, whether there's ChatGPT or not. I'm telling you, I'll be very honest. First time when I used it, I was like, oh, why was it not launched earlier when I was studying? Right? So but I had to study so much to do this, and this was the fun part. But we don't really use it actively, officially, for anything, right? But then yes, personally, a lot of folks use it, which is absolutely fine. I mean, I look at it as that if there is some goodness that can come out of it in a more intuitive manner, absolutely. So we are okay.
Thank you so much for all the speakers. Thank you so much. I request speakers sir for representing and felicitating all the speakers.
A big round of applause to the wonderful speakers. समय का पता ही नहीं चलता है जब conversations must begin. It's time for lunch as well.
Thank you so much, Vijay sir, Venkata sir, Mama ma'am, Himanshu sir, and Kapil sir. Thank you so much for wonderful session.
Close. सामने करिए. Book सामने. Yes. Okay. Close sir. Yes. Ready sir? Yeah. Ready sir.